This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, and welcome to Search Engine Optimization for Advocacy, What You Need to Know. My name is Eric Storey. I am the Executive Vice President of the Grassroots Professional Network, and I am joined here with Josh Greene, the Chief Executive Officer of the Mather Group. Thank you so much for joining us, Josh.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
So today we just really wanted to dive in and hear some of your expertise about search engine optimization, SEO, what people need to be doing and what they can sort of be doing a little bit more. I know that this is really a subject that a lot of people know just a little bit about and would love to kind of dive in and get past that 101 level just so that they can figure out what they need to do with their sites. For everybody listening who doesn't really know what SEO is, search engine optimization is a marketing discipline that focuses on driving up non-paid or what's called organic search engine results. So whenever people search your name or your association's name or your issue's name into a search engine like Google, SEO will help raise your score and help you get seen a whole lot faster, get you seen by a whole lot more people, and help amplify your message. SEO encompasses both technical and creative elements required to improve rankings, drive traffic, and increase awareness in search engines. But there are many aspects to SEO, and I hope you can fill us in a little bit there, Josh. But before we jump in, I just wanted to introduce myself. As I mentioned, I'm the EVP of the Grassroots Professional Network, but I'm also the Director of Grassroots and Digital Advocacy for the American Bar Association. I have been in the industry for about 10 years, working for organizations like the Family Physicians and for Edelman, and am excited to be able to kind of spread some of this knowledge of the digital side to people who may not know a whole lot more. Josh Greene, like I mentioned before, is the Chief Executive Officer of the Mather Group. And the Mather Group is a great digital agency that focuses on how you can get your message better known, better amplified through search engine optimization, through things like Wikipedia optimization and things like that. Prior to the Mather Group, Josh was actually the VP of marketing for both 1-800 Pack and Zippy Shell. There he was responsible for all the marketing online, offline, and even launched a national television campaign. Additionally, Josh worked with the National Retail Federation on the government relations staff, where he executed policy and advocacy strategies on behalf of shop.org. Josh, again, thank you so much for joining us, and please feel free to take it away.
Thanks, Eric, and I'm excited to join you today and talk a little bit about why you rank where you rank on Google and talk some more about how search engine optimization works for you and your organization. In terms of things we're going to show you today, we're going to show you key factors about why you rank where you do, 5 actions that you can take this week to boost your rankings and your traffic, how to get more space on Google's front page and more clicks, one link to your site that you can get today, and we'll be doing some live reviews of your site. And as you can see from the meme we've selected here, it is not uncommon for SEO to be misinterpreted. So we're going to talk about what SEO is, does it work, some metrics that are important, along with some tools that you can use to work on this, many with free components. We'll talk through SEO costs and SEO myths, 3 things that go into how it works in terms of on-page optimization, off-page optimization, and competitors. What happens when people get to your page? We'll look at some of the sites that are out there. And out of the million of online things, should you do this one and should you do it by yourself? SEO has evolved a great deal since the early 2000s. It used to be just 10 links on a page. Now you've got images, Google My Business, video, local pack, featured snippets, and more. It also can be confused with pay-per-click, but SEO is the air quotes free one driven by content. So if we were to look at a typical search results page, like the one for the US Chamber of Commerce here, you'll see that you have the organic result for the US Chamber of Commerce along with some pages in here. You can see the Wikipedia entry is here, followed by some Google Map results. Over on the right side, you've got a knowledge graph powered by Wikipedia with links to an organization's social channels. And then you've also got some similar groups that people will search for. When you continue a little further down a typical page, you can see that the latest news is out there, followed by more organic results from that particular organization, which is probably what you would expect if you had spent a lot of time thinking about what you'd see in the search results for the Chamber of Commerce. It's a little bit different when you get into issues. So if you were to look at the tariffs issue, not a specific company, you'll see news stories ranking high, then you'll see very fresh content. Google, in this case, is indexing things that have happened within the last 24 hours in the news. And then you'll see over here the people also ask area. And those are sort of the explainer questions where there's more information available for people in Google. So depending on how timely your situation is, SEO can be a little bit static, or it can be very dynamic, like in the example that you're seeing here. And one of the key things to this is making sure that you know your numbers. We generally find Google Analytics is both the most powerful tool that people have at their disposal and is exceptionally powerful. You can see where your traffic's coming from. In this case, you've got organic search where you can tell how many people have visited the site, the number of new visitors, the number of people who bounced after visiting just one page, and the number of pages per session and duration. And in this case, you can see that this is really good traffic that's coming in via organic search with the number of pages per session and the average session duration, with people spending almost 2.5 minutes there. A question that comes up as part of this is, what will SEO cost you? And we'll talk through some typical numbers, but it's important to think about what it's worth to you. How much is a visitor, an email subscriber, or a lifetime advocate worth to you? In some cases, $5,000 a month could be underpriced if it's $1 billion multinational corporation and SEO moves the needle 1%. In other areas, free could be too expensive if you have a well-meaning relative who gets your site penalized inadvertently. And the other thing that goes into this is worrying about SEO worth it for you. You'll notice both that Google's stock price continues to go up, so they're doing a good job of monetizing search results. And if you look at just about any e-commerce term, you'll find that there are often 4 ads running above the fold. And if you were to look at something like iPod, iPhone, you'll see that the entire page almost is filled up with paid advertising. So working on the organic search results there is going to be very difficult to get a result from. What goes into that and how you rank where you do are 3 key things. There's the backlink profile, so that's who's linking to you and where are they linking to you from. There's on-site optimization. What is your site saying, or what are your pages saying about particular topics? And the third one is perceived authority. How strong does Google think that your site is? If you're Amazon and you put up a new page, it'll rank almost instantly for any topic. If you're starting a brand new blog, it could take a while even to rank for a 7-word search phrase. One of the nice things that's gone on in SEO over the last few years is there's been a diminishment in the importance of technical SEO, and content marketing has played a bigger and bigger role. It used to be that the configuration of your site and a lot of nuances to it were the major factor in how you ranked. And Google has gotten so much better, and so many site architectures come with decent features out of the box that the technical issue is less of a factor than it used to be. There are a number of key factors, and it sort of works as a treadmill where you're optimizing each page for its main keywords. You build links to the home page and main pages. The search engine takes some time to update, although a little bit more frequently now. And then you analyze the rankings and traffic and sort of go back to the beginning, researching your keywords and seeing what's going on, and then developing that structure again for each of the pages as you move forward. On your pages, you want to tell Google what your page is about. In general, you want to do this in a useful, plain English way that's going to be very clear to any human reading it. Google is very good at parsing language, figuring out what pages are about. So many people have sort of internalized that you need keywords, but they take it a little too far and have a page about cats and brown cats and blue cats and many cats. And this is going to register as not something particularly useful for Google, and we'll have a bunch of things going on that won't register here. So you want to keep an eye out and make sure that you're putting together good content that both humans and Google's algorithms will be able to process. Off page, unfortunately, SEO often results in a popularity contest. So even if you have the world's best content, people still need to vote or link to your site, and some people's votes count more. In this analogy, the popular kids site. Lastly, people can pretend to vote for you, but not really if they were going to use something called no-follow links. It can be much tougher to get into this popular crowd than it was 3 or 5 years ago, so it can take time. And if you want instant right now, will people like me results, well, we'll talk about that in 2 slides. In the beginning, you want to make sure that you're not buying into some sort of snake oil. If it sounds too good to be true, if you can buy links on Fiverr, if you can join a blog network, it's probably not going to work for you. By the time you hear about a tactic like this, Google probably has. So when my well-meaning uncle suggests we start writing some pages and just put in lots of invisible keywords, it's a sign that that has been over and done with for quite some time. Google's got a ton of AI and linguistics professors thinking about how language is put together and what the best results to put out there in front of people are. So as you're thinking about SEO, sometimes it's interesting to think about paid advertising, especially if you're in a highly changing news environment where SEO may take a while to happen. You can run paid ads, and this is a great way to figure out if SEO is worth it for you. If you spend $100 or $1,000 to run ads for your cause or organization, you can see what happens to that traffic and how valuable it is, which gives you some really useful benchmarks to figure out what might happen if you worked on your SEO. There are 3 tools I like to use every day. All of them have free components to them. They're SEO Moz with their recently renamed Open Site Explorer, SEMrush, which is particularly good for pay-per-click, and Google's Webmaster Console. If you look at Moz's Open Site Explorer, and there's a free option available that lets you do a few searches, get a feel for it, see how you and your competitors rank, it'll tell you some really useful information. You can see the domain authority, which is on a scale of 0 to 100, the higher the better in terms of your site ranking. You can see how many domains link to you. So that's well over 1,000 sites have linked to this URL. And how many different keywords is Moz able to find a ranking on? And then you can drill down to how many of those are on the front page and how valuable they are. And there are a number of other tools, including what links have you gained and lost over the last 30 days. A lot of useful information, especially if you're trying to measure yourself against another organization, company, cause as a standard. Next up, we have SEMrush. And this does a really good job of giving you some information on organic search, what the traffic cost would be if you were actually paying for it, what's going on with paid search, how many backlinks are there. In this case, we took a look at Apple, which obviously probably wins the internet. It'll show you organic keywords, and it'll show you what that traffic that you're getting for organic keywords is worth. So it's a really great way to put a value on the organic traffic you're getting and think about what that traffic might be worth over time. Next up is the Google Search Console. This is Google's official tool. It's easy to verify yourself, takes about 5 minutes, and you can see what the keywords that you're getting organic traffic on are. You can see how many pages are being indexed and submit your sitemap to Google. And most importantly, you can see messages from Google. So if something goes wrong and Google has an issue with your site or thinks it's been hacked, you can communicate right here with this. So I would highly recommend this to everyone that is listening. One of the other interesting examples is as you get to the nonprofit side of things, you can see how many ads are here at the top of a page. So if you're in a say car donation mode, by the time you get to an organic result, you're going to be way below here. If these have value to you, and I'm assuming based on 4 ads that it's pretty valuable to have someone donate a car to your organization, this is where you start to think about the trade-offs, what you're doing, if there's perhaps different phrases that you want to rank on. SEO tends to be a continued evaluation of effort versus potential results that you might be able to achieve. And we'll go through a few of these examples that people are submitting through the chat window at the moment. In terms of 5 things you can do to improve your rankings in Google next week, many times if you just add a sitemap to Google's Search Console, you'll get more information about your site into Google. It'll know what your pages are officially, and that can improve your listings. You can take up more space if you improve and advertise on your brand terms. So if my name is Josh Greene, I might want to run an ad on Josh Greene, and that would give me some more space on that page, and those brand ads tend to be a lot lower priced. If you have a Wikipedia page or a Google My Business page, those power the top right on desktop searches for Google. So those can be important. If you're a larger business, a Wikipedia page. If you're a smaller one, a Google My Business page work well. And finally, if you look at your current inbound links using perhaps that Moz tool, you'll usually find at least one easy fix, links going to broken pages that can be redirected, or links coming to your site that might need a different bit of anchor text. And that can all help improve the rankings and what you're seeing. So now we're going to jump into a couple of pages that we're planning on taking a look at. One of the first ones we'll take a look at, and we've got a few here. If you want to take an association website and then look at Grassroots, this is an interesting example because you've got the Children's Hospital Association, and then you've got the Grassroots side on the right. And you'll see that one of these is set up more so to immediately grab information here, collect information, get people into the messaging of the organization. There's a little bit more as you go down in terms of social media where people can share, and it's very focused on a particular topic. So the mix of collecting information, giving people an opportunity to share, and focusing on a particular topic is going to be good for the SEO side of things, as I'm sure what's on the front of this page is going to rotate through a variety of things. So that's not really maximizing the SEO value because there are many other priorities on this page versus this one is sort of purpose built, and you've got all the social links up here as well. So that's going to be particularly helpful. Next up, we've got the
Hey Josh,
national.
do you mind if
Oh,
I
yeah.
ask you real fast? Are there any advantages on the SEO side on having one site versus having a main website and then a grassroots website? Are there any benefits to that as far as SEO goes?
There's probably a smaller, well, there's probably an SEO benefit to having it as part of the main site. However, from what I've seen, I would say if you're careful in terms of how you're linking out from the main site to the grassroots site, you can pass a lot of that sort of Google juice across. And from what I've seen, those separate sites are particularly useful to people within the organization, the social side of things, that in general, even if from a strictly pure SEO standpoint, you might want to have it as part of this site. I think all the other benefits that you're getting from having a separate grassroots site are going to outweigh them, would be my take on it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, and the other thing with SEO, just on many of these things, this probably will rank about as well on a phrase like Ace Kids Act as the main page will after a few weeks to index it on Google's side. So to the extent that there's organic traffic coming in, you're probably not going to lose out on very much.
Great, great. Because that is a practice we see a lot in this town is having a separate grassroots site just to house a lot of those digital assets and a lot of the tools of the ways that we connect our constituents with our members of Congress. So that is great to know.
Yeah, yeah. Taking a look at the NFIB, this is sort of a typical organization page. What you'll see is you've got 6 different site links for the main page. Then because we're located near Washington, D.C., you get this result showing where some offices are. I suspect, and you can always confirm in the chat box, that if I was looking at this from Tennessee, it would move into more results down the page. And then over here you have the organization information knowledge graph powered by Wikipedia here. All of this is coming out of Wikipedia. Then you have all the social things, and then you have some adjacent organizations. One of the interesting things we've found is if you have a little more content in Wikipedia, you can push sort of the people also search for down below the fold, which may be desirable if those are more in the order of competitors versus friendly sites. So there are things you can do managing the page if you want to impact that. On the next one, we've got the uninsured rate. And what you see is, in this case, it's almost straight news stories. That's probably a combination of it's a topic in the news. It's probably fairly expensive to advertise on. And this is not unusual. And what it sort of shows is if you want to rank on something like this, you're probably going to need to be out in the news if it's a highly controversial topic. I mean, these are all picking up stories that are out there. If you want, it only looks like, and I haven't checked, but healthpayerintelligence.com might be a private site, but you can see everything else is going to be news driven. So if you're in something really competitive like that, it's probably going to be news driven search results. Next up, we've got a Congress page, Jerry Connolly in Virginia. And this is interesting because you see this a lot on notable people. You've got his official government page. You've got all of his offices here. You've got the Wikipedia page. You've got his name page. And now this is interesting because it says no information is available for this page. You see this a lot with politicians where they're there's a file called robots.txt on every website that tells Google and other search engines what they can actually crawl. And for public figures like politicians, they'll occasionally block it because there are issues with what gets picked up for campaign sites versus personal sites. If you see this for a company, it's usually a sign that something has gone wrong and someone published something they shouldn't have, because you always want to have this information in Google unless there's a reason why not. You also see Twitter feeds and video here. So this is interesting if you're managing public figures or you're in the public eye. Don't underestimate the power of these things to spill over into your search rankings. If you're active and if it seems like an appropriate search, they will pull through. And that's one thing we see a lot is groups that have really dated YouTube channels, and that seems to be the one that's easiest to neglect. If you put some work in getting new content up and getting it viewed, you can impact your search results that way. And then if we come back to this donate a car results thing, you'll see that in the DC area, Cars for Kids shows up, and they've got a lot of information. You've also got the different ads. Reviews can be very important. You see you get another line of text here in the Google ad, and one of the things that this wheelsforwishes.org site has not done is not use 3 lines of text, and that could be because they've decided that it works better to have a review here and then 1 line, but you could also add 2 more lines, and then you get into this where these 2 sites are almost identical in terms of all the abbreviations that are here. And then you're not even getting into organic results till you get way down here, and you're sort of seeing the same thing if we were to take a look at charity donation DC, 4 ads and then some results. So even in the nonprofit space, if you're in a category that's revenue driving, you can expect to see some serious competition going on. And final question we had in, if we didn't get to you, just drop a note. You'll see if we're searching on disabled veterans, you get a similar sort of thing. It's interesting to see that in this case, there's the people also ask feature is really near the top. This can be a useful piece of research to see what the topics are that people are curious about. If you're writing blog posts and write them with these titles, there's a very good chance they'll rank. So this can be a clue to what's going to help you in the search engine process. And then you see the Twitter handle and what's here. You see the knowledge graph, pictures coming right out of Google Images. That's also another interesting opportunity because rarely do people put any effort into what's showing up for them in Google Images, and these can impact the results that people are getting because they're some of the only visuals that are on this page that are showing up. So hopefully that's been helpful as an introductory look at SEO. We appreciate you attending, and we're going to say thanks to everyone. We'll be posting a note about this on the blog, and if you're we're happy to include you. So if you'd like a link from our site, just send in an email on the final page coming right up here, or actually not the final page, sorry, Eric. You can just email me at josh@themathergroupllc.com. We also have a link at meetme.so/Josh Greene if you want to schedule a strategy session, or always just send me an email and we're happy to chat. And I will turn it back over to you, Eric.
Yeah, Josh. And while we have you here, I hope you don't mind if we ask you a couple questions real fast.
No, I'd be delighted.
You did a great job of explaining about some keywords and things like that. Would you also mind explaining a little bit about metadata and some of the important roles that goes into SEO scores?
Yeah, that's a great question. In the code for every website and every page that's online, there are some pieces of data to tell search engines what that page is about. So there's a title tag as the title for the page. There's a description of the page, which is usually something that's essentially the main subject. There was a meta tag for keywords, although that's very, very much diminished. But in general, those three things, which are typically available in a CMS to set for any page, allow you to tell Google and to tell anyone who's looking what that page is about and provide some more hints on what you would like that page to index for. So some of the examples that you might see title tags like donate a car DC as a title tag and a description about what they do. Similarly, with something like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, you'd probably see a descriptive paragraph about what they do. And if they do that on every page, it's good form, helps Google index the pages, and provides a bit of a boost there.
Great, great. Thank you. And the other thing that we're kind of wondering about and around our office is the importance of alternative image tags or the metadata that goes along with images. We have to do a lot of that for ADA compliance, but we didn't know how much that helps with SEO scores. Does that really play a key role?
It's very important for the ADA side of things and people who use screen readers, and I suspect as voice search becomes more common, it might be useful on that end as well. It theoretically is one of the ranking factors for search engine results. I think that it probably got overused and spammed so much the same way the keywords did. If you were to say there are 200, ranking factors that go into a particular page, your image tag alt information is probably down in the 180s or something. So there are a lot of other things that you could do from an SEO perspective. So in most cases with our clients, we suggest they do something that's appropriately descriptive on all of the images and just sort of move along at that point, because it's a much bigger factor on the ADA side of things than I really think it is on the SEO side of things.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us today. We always appreciate when you can stop by and let us know about these things. Just to let everybody know, we also have another webinar with Josh that dives a lot into Wikipedia and the several different assets Wikipedia can lend to your message and getting your name out there as a brand. If you would like to continue the conversation, please join us online. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at the following handles, and we will continue to answer questions with Josh over SEO and Wikipedia. Please feel free to just tag Grassroots Pros in any of your tweets or using the hashtag SEO for advocacy, and we'd be happy to answer any questions there. Also, please join our website. Check that out, see what we have coming up. We have a lot of events coming up in the next few months and some exciting announcements that we're looking forward to, so please join us there. And again, Josh, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, Eric, and look forward to next time.
Sounds great. Everybody have a great day.